Greetings, my fellow decrepits, invalids, and other sick people. I hope you're doing well today and that you're fighting the good fight. So I read a book recently that I really enjoyed, and I thought that I would talk about it and share a little bit about it with you guys. So I'll give you a quick sneak peek. Did you get it? Before we get into the video, though, if you enjoy the content we make on this channel, feel free to give a smack to that like button, a ring-a-ding-ding to that notification bell, and maybe even consider subscribing and sharing this video with your family and friends. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, so the book we're going to be talking about today is Calm Your Inflammation, 7 Proven Secrets, written by Dr. Brenda Tidwell. So first, before we get into this book, I want to start off by saying I actually generally really hate self-help books. They are not my cup of tea. I feel like everyone has an opinion in the world, and generally speaking, with self-help books, I think there is good information there typically. However, I feel like they take what they could say in about 50 to 100 pages and they turn it into a 300 or 400 page book. And so you end up reading 400 pages of something that is really extrapolated upon and really just stretched out to its absolute limit. So I tend to not enjoy self-help books. That said, this book really surprised me. So my grandma picked this up for me because one of the things that my doctor has told me to focus on fighting with my chronic fatigue is my inflammation. And so this book is giving you 7 ways to combat your inflammation. And Dr. Brenda Tidwell did a phenomenal job of breaking it down into, I think it's 110 pages. 114 pages. There is absolutely no fluff in this thing. And she has a very great writing style. She's got a little bit of humor kind of mixed in there. And I just thought that she did a really good job explaining things in such a way that my little pea brain can understand. And I highly recommend it. Now, inflammation, we've talked about a little bit on this channel, is something that is kind of at the center of lots of chronic illness. It is something that inflammation is essentially your body's response, your immune response to, free radicals, viruses, bacteria, all these different things, to injury. Inflammation is just your body's way of trying to fight off diseases and such. The problem with inflammation comes in, though, however, when it turns into chronic inflammation. It's something that extends well beyond a normal immune response. So if you're dealing with chronic inflammation for months and years on end, that's when the issue comes in. So that's what I am trying to do with my illness, is fight off that inflammation. And I forget, somewhere in here, she talks about the percentage of people the percentage of illnesses are related to chronic inflammation in some capacity. I don't have the exact number, so I apologize, but it is a high percentage of diseases. That's what I do remember. So inflammation is a big thing that we need to fight. So all that to say, her main point at the beginning of the introduction is essentially that inflammation in itself is not bad, but when it is prolonged, that's when we start to have issues. So she gives us 7 ways to break down, or 7 ways to fight our inflammation and help calm down our body's immune response. So like I said, in her book, she talks about 7 different ways to fight inflammation. Because I'm new to YouTube and I'm still trying to understand copyright and what it looks like when I talk about other people's content or other things that, books people have written, for example, I am not going to discuss all 7. I would love to. I don't know how that works. I don't want to plagiarize or anything. I want to give Dr. Brenda Tidwell all the credit. This is all her work and her ideas. But I am going to talk about 3 of them. The 3 that probably stood out to me the most. And then I will talk about some of the things I have tried to implement into my routine post reading her book. So the first thing I want to talk about is diet. Everything always seems to come back to the foods we eat. Things like processed foods and sugars are very inflammatory. And so if your body is trying to fight off inflammation, trying to fight off illness, when we go to the store and we buy, my favorite Reese's peanut butter cups or chocolate chip cookies, those things are high in inflammatory foods, and they do not help our bodies heal in any such way, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone. But what she does talk about in the book is she tries to give us various foods and food groups that help reduce that inflammation. So, for example, some of the foods that she lists that help reduce inflammation or are anti-inflammatory would be things such as berries, strawberries, blackberries, things like apples, grapes, citrus fruits, tomatoes, olive oil, leafy greens and vegetables, almonds, walnuts, excuse me, oily fish or omega-3 fatty acids, dark chocolate even. My wife got me some dark chocolate once I read the book. But typically, like, I guess when I read this, what I kind of see is it kind of just comes back to simply the way that we all know we should be eating in the first place. You know, Lots of fruits and veggies, lean proteins, things like nuts, and then reducing processed foods and sugars. So it all kind of comes back to the foods that we know we should eat. But she talks a ton about how our gut and the microbiome in our gut, which is essentially the bacteria levels in our gut, how that affects our inflammation, how it affects how our body heals, and the foods we put into it have a huge impact on our body's response to disease and inflammation. So that's a big one. If you're battling with inflammation, definitely start looking up anti-inflammatory foods and trying to have a few more. I know since reading this, if I'm looking for a snack, I have tried to go to the cupboard or the fridge and grab like some nuts or like some blueberries or raspberry berries or something, and I've tried to have those be my snacks instead of chips or my weakness actually is peanut butter. I love having like a half a peanut butter sandwich for a snack, but that's not very good for us. Although I've been trying to switch up my peanut butter and do at the store, at least in my grocery store, there's a machine where you can grind up the raw peanuts and then you just get just the peanuts in your peanut butter and nothing else. So I've been trying to do that when I can, or at the very least, if I'm buying a store brand, I'm trying to look at the ingredients and make sure that there's only like peanuts and, vegetable oil or something. So just be mindful of what we are eating, and that will play a huge role in helping reduce inflammation in our body. And right now, we are on the road to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I would really appreciate it if you would do your part, if you enjoy the content on this channel, and help us reach that goal. So thank you so much. The next point she talks about is our sleep and how important sleep is in reducing our inflammation. So I want to start by reading this little quote that she has in the book. Well, it's not really a quote, she wrote it, but it says, sleep is not just about switching off for a few hours. It is in fact an active period for the body where repair and regeneration occur. So for many of us, I think we just look at sleep as, I'm tired and I need to close my eyes and rest for 6 to 8 hours. What I've been learning through this last year and a half is that sleep is so much more than that. Sleep is that time where your body heals itself, repairs itself, and having good sleep hygiene, as they say, and good sleep routines are a huge part in our body's ability to just heal and reconstruct itself. And so she and many others talks about having some sort of sleep routine is very important. And what a sleep routine looks like, I guess I'll use mine for an example. The last month or so, what I have been trying to do is around 8:30 to 9 o'clock ish, I'm trying to put my phone down and be done with it for the night, because they say you're supposed to not look at your phone for an hour or two before bed. I have not worked my way up to a larger goal yet, but I'm kind of starting small. So I've been trying to put it down, and then my last, few minutes, what I'm trying to do at bedtime is a bedtime meditation to just help my body unwind. And so what I've been doing is I've been doing it on the TV because I need to listen to something. But the way I'm trying to get around looking at the TV screen is, and this may not work for everyone, but for me, my TV faces my window. And so what I do is I look at the window and I look in the reflection at night, and I sit there, I turn on the TV and I go to YouTube and I try to type in the bedtime meditation, like looking at the reflection. And then once it's going, then I put on a sleep mask and I do my meditation, and I do it that way. So that's how I've been trying to do my meditation while not looking at a screen for my last, 10 to 15 minutes before bed. And so that would be an example, though, of a bedtime routine. It could be, turning off your phone, reading a book for 20 minutes. But they just say trying to have something that helps shut off your brain and tells your body that, hey, it's time to sleep, it's time to rest, and that will help get your body into more of a REM sleep, which is the really deep sleep where your body repairs itself. And she also talks about how there is a huge link between lack of sleep and chronic inflammation, meaning if you're not sleeping enough, it's going to make your inflammation that much worse and make it that much harder for your body to repair yourself. And she kind of describes it as a cycle that basically if I'm not sleeping enough, I get inflammation. And then if I have inflammation, I need to sleep more, but I'm not sleeping enough. And so inflammation. And so she just describes it as it's a hard battle to overcome, but we have to slowly try to regain control of our sleep and regain the benefits of resting in bed. And so she has a lot of good stuff in here talking about that. I would recommend going to her for the bulk of it and not for me. I will leave a link down below to her book. I will do it through Barnes & Noble, which will be an affiliate link. I'm doing that so you can have the book, but also if you wanted to support the channel at the same time, you could do it through that link. But I am not offended at all if you just want to go to Amazon and find it yourself as well. So I just wanted to leave that option for you if you wanted to support her and the Fitness with an Illness channel. So, but no pressure. So that is sleep. Okay, and the last section in her book I want to talk about is exercise. Remember, there are 7 points that she makes in her book, but I want to leave that. I think it'd be best for you to hear it from her. I'm just kind of giving a few bullet points on things that she said and I thought were important. Now, with exercise, she talked about a similar cycle to sleep, and let me explain. Basically, having inflammation in your body, chronic inflammation, can cause weight gain, and gaining weight can also cause more inflammation in your body. So those two kind of work against each other, and basically having exercise included in your routine is a way of reducing inflammation. Now, exercise, as she describes it, doesn't always have to be going to the gym and trying to pump a bunch of iron. For me, I know exercise has changed a lot since having chronic fatigue. I used to be a very avid runner. Someday I'm going to get back to it. But used to be a very avid runner, and I would run 3-4 miles a few times a week. Absolutely loved it. I'd push myself really hard. I also worked at FedEx, and I walked 6 or 7 miles a day at work. Just very active, on my feet a lot. I love to move. But now, when I'm dealing with my illness and dealing with inflammation, my body can't tolerate exercise in quite the same capacity. And so she describes doing simple things like going for a walk, which I've been doing. She talks about things like stretching and Pilates, like very, very lightweight exercises, kind of as a ways of helping build up your strength again and helping reduce the inflammation. And specifically with things like stretching or Pilates or even swimming. She talked about swimming was great. A lot of these exercises are very easy on the body, very relaxing, and they help to kind of ease they give you the benefits of exercise in a very lightweight manner. Because I believe she talked about how there is a point of exercising too hard can actually cause inflammation, basically exercising to the point of injury, which is, I think, more common than I think we realize. At the very least, I think overdoing it with exercise is very common. And so she talks about having balance in your exercise routine and starting small, working your way up. I want to read one little part of her book here where she says, "A study has shown that just a single session of moderate exercise can result in a decrease in the production of pro-inflammatory markers. If these effects can be seen after just one session, think about the long-term impact of making moderate exercise a regular part of your lifestyle. Moreover, the benefits of regular exercise extend far beyond inflammation reduction. Some of these additional benefits include enhanced cognitive function, cardiovascular health, chronic illness prevention, mental health benefits, muscle strength, and many more." So, again, as always, exercise is always important. I think when, with this channel, I'm primarily focusing on people who are dealing with chronic inflammation and chronic disease. And so I think where I'm trying to come at is finding a lightweight exercise that works for you. I just saw she mentions cycling as well. So finding a lightweight exercise that helps you kind of get back into your routine and helps reduce some of the inflammation. I'm a big proponent on this channel of, if you are dealing with a chronic condition or if you're sick in any kind of way, I think you have to be proactive and you have to be fighting against your illness. And it's all about finding tools that will help you do that more effectively. And so I think her book was very beneficial to me. There were several things I learned from it. A couple things I've started doing. She talks about supplements in there too as well. And so I've gotten back onto vitamin D. I was doing it off and on for a while. Now I'm back on it because vitamin D is anti-inflammatory. Vitamin D seems to be like, I want to say liquid gold, but it's not really a liquid pill gold. I don't know. It's great. And then I've also started taking fish oil because omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. So all that to say, I think this book is another great tool to help you be proactive in your fight, get some more tools in your toolbox, and continue to find ways to fight your disease and to strive towards living a healthier life. So I really encourage you to check out her book, Calm Your Inflammation, 7 Proven Secrets by Dr. Brenda Tidwell. So give it a read. Like I said, very short, 114 pages. I think I basically read this in a week, and I'm a fairly slow reader, so some of you could read this in a day, I'm sure. But yeah, that's probably about all I got for today. So I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. I hope it was beneficial to you. And again, if you enjoy the content we make on this channel, please consider sharing it with your family and friends. We are, again, searching for that 100 subscriber mark by the end of the year. So really appreciate it if you help us reach that mark. And with that, thank you, my friends. Take care of yourself. God bless you, and we will see you in the next one.